Today is April the 3rd of 2021. Today we're here with John Betancourt, who's running for the Amarillo College Board of Regents. John, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a huge honor and a pleasure to be here with you today.
Let's start off by telling the voters who you are, where you came from, where you grew up, your background, and then why you're running for the Amarillo College Board of Regents.
Well, as you said, my name's John Betancourt. I'm Amarillo born and raised, homegrown. I'm the oldest of 5 children that my parents had. My parents were hard workers growing up. They sometimes worked 2, 3 jobs at a time. I remember on the weekends, on Saturdays, going out and helping my dad and my uncle mow lawns. And so very early, at an early young age, I learned what hard work was, and I learned I have a lot of respect for my parents and the strong work ethic that they raised us with. And so grew up. I went to a lot of different elementary schools, Sunrise, Bivens. When I went to middle school, I ended up going to Austin Middle School, then Bowie Middle School, and I graduated from Caprock High School, class of 93. From there, I went to Amarillo College. That's where I got my start in mass communications, radio, TV, broadcasting. Learned at an early age that that wasn't the path that I wanted to pursue. After that experience, moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, spent about 7 years there before returning back home to Amarillo. And that's where I would say that I started blossoming and falling back in love with Amarillo in our community. My first job was with Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. I worked under the physical plant, and I managed the daily operations of the office there. I was also project manager over multi-million-dollar renovation, construction projects, and maintenance projects. And so I'm have experience with state procurements on the state level. And then I worked about 10 years for the Health Sciences Center while representing and volunteering on their behalf with our local United Way. And it was then that I learned that there was a lot of disparities in our community. And shockingly, I found out that the average homeless person at that time was 9 years old. And that hit home really hard because at that time I had nieces and nephews that were within that same age group. And so when the opportunity arose for me wanting to make a difference in the lives of the younger generation and our younger students and our future leaders of our great city, I decided to run for the Amarillo ISD Board of Trustees in 2015. And I ran a grassroots effort. And I was elected to that governing body board, served them with a lot of grit and sweat. And I learned a lot about public education and where the true impact regarding public education lies, which is at the state level. And so that is why, one of the reasons that's why last year I ran for the State Board of Education, so I could at least try to make a difference on that governing body board in Austin. And unfortunately, I was not elected to that position, but it gave me the opportunity to run for this seat for the Amarillo College Board of Regents, which is, I think, with the experience that I have regarding public education, with being out and working within the community and knowing what the needs of the community are. It'll be an added skill set to that governing body with the Board of Regents. Professionally, I work in the funeral industry. It's a new career move for me. And so I meet with families and assisting them through that process of planning meaningful and healing services for their families.
Well, you never run out of clients.
No.
So you said you didn't like the mass communications at AC. What was it about that you decided you didn't want to pursue? I mean, why did you think you wanted to do that and then you chose not to? What made that switch?
Well, it's not that I didn't like it. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the curriculum. I enjoyed the learning. It's just at that time, life happened, as it does for a lot of us. And I learned that for the amount of money that I wanted to make, I was not going to be able to do it with that skill set, unfortunately. And so years later, I returned back to AC, and I took advantage of the certificate program and curriculum that they offer for contract negotiations and procurements, not only at the state level, but at the federal level. And had not been for that, I would not have been able to have the position that I had at Texas Tech. And then following my employment at Texas Tech, I actually left there to go work for Bell Helicopter. And with Bell Helicopter, I was actually negotiating multi-million-dollar procurements and contract agreements on behalf of the federal government.
Well, that's interesting. So you liked the mass communications, but the money wasn't there.
Yes, unfortunately.
So then you moved to Dallas and realized that Amarillo wasn't quite so bad.
Exactly.
Well, I think we see that happen a lot. People move away. In a few years, they're back.
Mm-hmm.
So the allure of the big city isn't what it's cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Amarillo has a lot of positive things about it. So you've chosen to run for the Amarillo College Board of Regents. Why don't you tell the voters what that position entails and what your job description is as a member of the Board of Regents?
Like Amarillo ISD, Board of Trustees, the Amarillo College, Board of Regents are tasked with several things. One of them is they supervise and evaluate the president of that educational institution. Another thing that they do is they set policy for the institution. And then they also are tasked with advocating for the college, and they have the ability to set the tax rate and decide when we go out on bond election.
So you basically have one employee, and that's the president of the Amarillo
Yes.
College.
Yes,
You can hire him and you can fire him.
exactly. Yes.
So that's how you can hold sway over their policies, more or less. You don't
Yes.
set the policies, right? That's the president's job.
Yes.
But if he's going outside the realm of what the members of the Board of Regents expect, because they represent the voter,
Yes.
that's how the voters can hold the president of the organization's feet to the fire,
Yes.
is through the Board of Regents.
Yes. That, and it's part of your checks and balances too.
Mm-hmm.
They meet monthly. And so the president's office presents an agenda to the Board of Regents and an agenda packet. And then it's their duty to do their due diligence of what the taxpayers and voters of our city are expecting them to do, to review it and to be educated on that packet and to make important decisions in casting their vote. My intentions, once I'm elected to this governing body board, is to determine my vote based on how that's going to impact the students, the staff, and of course, the residents and voters of Amarillo.
So what do you think is some of the main issues facing Amarillo College that you'd like to see implemented?
Well, there's several things that the college is facing right now. Recently, we learned that the average student that attends Amarillo College is about 25 years old, is female, is a Hispanic student who they've referred to as Maria. She's 25 years old, and she is raising 1 to 2 children within her household. And it's been mentioned that they are one financial crisis away from having to make a decision if they're going to continue attending classes or have to make a decision to have to leave classes. And that could be something as simple as having a flat tire. And it's my mission that I understand life happens to us. It's happened to me. But we should never have a student from our community who's trying to lift herself or himself up and their families having to have a stress if they're going to have to make that decision of having to drop out just in replacing the tire. So I think it's very important that we provide our student body, regardless of what their age is, with programs that will help them through that educational process. That way they successfully can walk that stage at graduation time. Another issue that the college is dealing with right now is that due to COVID and the pandemic, they have seen a drastic decrease in the enrollment as to where in previous years where we had about 10,000 students enrolling and attending classes, now we have 9,000 students. And it's been forecasted because of that shortfall in our student enrollment and attendance that we're looking at the possibility of a $2 million decrease in our state funding. And so that's why this governing body, along with the work that they do with administration and with the president, has to have a path forward on what it is that they are going to do to help carry that financial burden and learn to live within our means and set policy and programs and budgets so where it does not infect the current programs and, heaven forbid, it cause a decrease in our staffing. Those are the top two for right now, and I could go on and discuss more. But those are the two pressing things that I think right now that the college is facing right now. Now, when you're looking at things as far as future growth for Amarillo College, we've somehow decided to think out of the box, and we're thinking about what the future holds for Amarillo College and for our great city. And so with the relationship that Amarillo College has with Amarillo ISD and them participating with the Thrive Scholarship, I think that is an excellent program and scholarship that will help a lot of students out of poverty, because education is the key in the driving force in bringing individuals out of poverty, because you can never take away a person's education from them. Another thing is the plan for the Innovation Outpost and just reevaluating what the future holds for our city. And I think it would be really awesome if we were to implement degree programs and certificate and trade skill programs to where we are training our future workforce. And I mean, we hear on the news that even the state of California is in the process of having computer-generated logistics vehicles. And how awesome would it be if we had a training facility or a program here where we actually training the students of Amarillo College how to be programmers for that technology. And I think Amarillo College and Texas as a whole should have a stake in the game, and it'll bring a lot of students to Amarillo College if we focus on some of those program initiatives. And sometimes I feel, my own personal experience, that we sometimes focus a lot of the attention on the academics and also on the degree programs, which there's not anything wrong with that. And Amarillo College has been recognized nationally as one of the top 10 junior colleges in the nation. And that is something that, as citizens of Amarillo, that we should all be very proud of. I believe it takes every single one of us as citizens to be involved in our governing body boards, with if it's our school district, if it's our college board of regents, if it's our city council and our community, our county governing body boards. It's important that we all stay informed and that we get out to vote, because the individuals that we have in those elected positions are our representatives, and they're our voice on those governing body boards. And I say that because the academics are important, but I'm a product of the academics and how it didn't set my path forward. And I returned back later on in life, and I participated in a certificate program that had a huge impact in who I am today and the career that I had working for the state and the federal government and negotiating contracts for them. It opened the door for program and project management. And had it had not been for that path in returning to Amarillo College, I don't know where I would be today. And so just as important as it is to have these discussions regarding the academics and the degree programs, it's just as important that we concentrate on our trade skill programs and also our certificate programs as well.
Yeah, we can't train everybody to be managers and have nobody to manage.
Exactly. And sometimes, college isn't for everybody.
Right.
And if it's not, that's okay. We have another path for you.
Yeah, they threw me out. But I did not know until just the other day that the AISD and the Amarillo College has a program where anybody in Amarillo can send their child. I guess they're not a child by the time they get out of high school. To Amarillo College for 2 years for free.
Yes.
I don't think very many people know that. I would think everybody, just about everybody in Amarillo would send their high school graduate to Amarillo College.
Yes.
That would solve their enrollment problem.
Yes, it definitely would. And plus, unfortunately, everything with public education is tied to enrollment and student, when the students attendance, when they attend their classes. And so if you make your local school district enticing to individuals and families that live outside your district, and with the Amtech campus that is underway, this is going to be a beautiful campus, but it's also going to have some life-changing curriculum that students necessarily wouldn't have the opportunities in attending those classes. But it's important that we have those relationships with our junior colleges and a path from high school to college.
We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need heat and air people, competent, trained people. They teach heating and air in prison, but no company can hire them because they're felons. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I hear you.
We can't hire them because we can't put them in people's houses because of the liability. They're felons. Yes. So that's never made any sense to me. We need to be teaching people that are interested in that coming out of high school, and they could work with, if AC had those programs, which I think they do, and work with local companies to provide internships so they could get on-the-job training. We would love that because, number one, we need good help, and we want people that want to learn. The problem today is there's not very many people in Amarillo that can fix things. Yes. They can replace them, so they're training salesmen, not repair people. So people that have the deductive reasoning capacity to understand how things work and to fix it, because anything can be fixed.
Yes.
It does not have to be replaced.
Yes.
So we run into that a lot. I have to have all my own people because if I hire contractors, they're going to say, oh, they can't get parts. It has to be replaced. It costs me a fortune. I can't make the numbers work.
Yes.
So that's something that I think, and there's competent people out there in the trades that would make great teachers.
Yes. And then it's also important to learn and grow our own, because we don't want our people to be trained and then to move and relocate. It would be nice if we could train them, grow them here, and they decide to stay here.
Well, if these companies participated, then those people, they're going to hire those people and they're going to stay here.
Yes.
And they can make good money.
Yes, they definitely can. My last year on the board of trustees for Amarillo ISD, at the end of every school year, we would have a group exit interview with the senior graduating class. And so at each high school campus, that campus or the principal would select X amount of students from that graduating class to sit down with a couple of members of the board of trustees, just to have some dialogue. How was your educational experience with Amarillo ISD, and do you feel that we set you up on a path forward? And what are your plans after you graduate? And I'll never forget it. I was at one of the high schools, and every single one of those graduates had a plan. But there was one individual that spoke to me, and he said, you know what? He goes, I'm going to be honest. I don't think college is for me. He goes, but my dad is a tradesman, and I'm going to be trained in heating and air because I want to have my own company, and I want to have my own heating and air company.
Mm-hmm.
And that clicked for me, and it was a big eye-opener because I had the mindset that, oh, we've got to set our kids up for success, and they've got to go to college for that. And I was completely wrong.
Yep.
And I had this young person that opened up that red flag for me.
That kid's going to be the most successful one in the class.
And he said it with as much pride that every single one of those students was telling me what their path was.
Yep. Yeah, that's the type of people we want.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Well, what other issues do you think that the voters need to know, and why should they choose you over your opponents? And you also might explain how that voting process works, because it may be a little bit confusing to some of the people that, particularly those that haven't voted in an election before, because the AC Board of Regents and the school board is different than the other elections, because you have, I think, 3 votes on the AC board and 4 on the school board.
Yes.
So explain how that works and your terms to the voters, and then you might say why they should vote for you.
Okay, so this like you had mentioned, both Amarillo College and Amarillo ISD, they use a cumulative voting process. And so for Amarillo College, there is 3 seats up for election, and you've got 6 candidates. And so each voter will be able to cast a total of 3 votes. And I would ask that you cast all 3 votes for me. But if you decide that I'm not your candidate, that's perfectly fine. You can decide to split up all 3 of your votes amongst the 6 candidates, the 3 that you think will do a good job. Or you could cast 2 votes for one candidate and 1 vote for another candidate. Or you can give 3 candidates 1 vote each, or you can give 1 candidate a total of 3 votes. For Amarillo ISD, there's 4 seats up for election, so a voter will get a total of 4 votes. They can split them up any way they can. Mm-hmm. The why I'm running, and the reason why I feel that I would be a huge asset to this governing body, is because I've got experience with Amarillo ISD. And I'm very familiar with how that elected governing body works. And so it would be an easy transition for me to transition into the the Board of Regents, I already know what my role is going to be to have oversight, governance, and to manage the president of Amarillo College, to perform an annual review on how that individual is doing, how to set the tax rate, and also when it's my responsibility to go to the taxpayers and suggest we go out for a bond election. I already know from my experience working out in the community and on several of the boards that I currently serve on and the ones that I have previously served on, what the needs of our community is and what the path forward is in regards from elementary school, the path for middle school, the path for high school, and the path for college into university. And I would definitely love the ability to be the voice of the constituency here in our great city. And I would love to represent the staff and students of Amarillo College.
You mentioned earlier that the Amarillo College was fixing to build a tech campus.
Well, they are going to build an innovation outpost.
Now, what does that mean?
Innovation Outpost it's part of the downtown campus that they have down on Polk Street.
Okay.
And so what they're going to be doing is they're going to be working with local companies in developing programs that will assist them in their future workforce. We had talk about trade skills earlier. I had mentioned the fact of technology where we are having computer generated logistics vehicles. Another thing would be for the coding and technology. And technology is the wave of the future. And how awesome would it be if we had a training facility here, a high-tech encoding facility here for our residents in Amarillo to participate in and getting educated for our future.
So they're not building a brand new campus. They're just taking and transforming the Polk Street facility into that.
Well, a couple of years ago, we went out for an $89 million bond election. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, some of that money is set aside for the renovation of that downtown campus to build that training facility.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Another facility that Amarillo College is in the process of discussions and building right now is a state-of-the-art first responders training facility. And so that facility is going to be located at the Sunset Center Mall, the old Sunset Center Mall. And so it's going to be within the same area that AISD's Amtech facility is going to be at.
Well, that's good. It's good. Sounds like a lot of things going on at Amarillo College.
It does, and it's something that I would love to be part of in having those discussions, in representing the voters and the taxpayers of Amarillo.
So there's, 9 Board of Regents?
Yes.
And they're on 3 staggered terms?
Yes.
6-year terms?
Yes, that is correct.
So every 2 years, 3 come up?
Yes.
Right. Just so people understand that.
Yes.
So there's 6-year terms. Every 2 years, you're going to vote on 3 of them.
Yes.
All right. Well, do you have a website or anything that people can get a hold of yet?
I don't have a website, but what I do have is I'm pretty active on my social media. So if anybody would like to learn more about me, learn more about my campaign, or also learn more about the exciting things that are happening at Amarillo College, they can do so by searching me on Facebook and Twitter on John for AC, or they can email me at johnforac@gmail.com. They can also call me at 806-731-7281.
All right. Let's repeat that number one more time in case somebody's trying to write it down.
806-731-7281. 81, and they can find me on all social media platforms via John for AC.
Well, very good. Well, we really appreciate you coming by, John, and good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate you.